Hey guys, this is James Bedell with Build2Sustain. We're going to run through some of the highlights of the paper project, specifically the 12-week process, and define the deliverables of the process. If you've been following the blog over the past week, you've seen that we've talked about who the stakeholders are on the project, why Build2Sustain wants to work with an academic partner to study sustainability on campus. Now we're going to get into what the 12-week process is, how it would work, and what our stakeholders will have at the end of the process. So in 12 weeks, we sort of break this down week by week and give you a sense of what we plan on doing, right? So week 1 is goal assessment. We'll come out and visit the campus, we'll talk with the stakeholders, and we'll identify opportunities on campus. Our academic partner could be set in it could be an urban school, it could be a suburban or rural school with its own campus. So the opportunity assessment is going to be different depending on the space. If we end up working with a city-bound organization where buildings are embedded in an urban landscape and we're not dealing so much with land use issues, we're dealing more with building envelope, lighting control, HVAC issues, we'll identify those sort of very high-level issues so that we can drill down further into the project. In the second week, we refine the target to a specific either building on campus or space within a campus activity. So again, if we're in a rural situation or a suburban situation where there's an entire campus, maybe we'll identify a single building to work on as a renovation client or a renovation target. If we're dealing with an urban campus, maybe it's a specific floor or a specific facility within the campus that we feel is a good candidate for a sustainable retrofit or a renovation. Weeks 3 and 4, we go away and we do some design work. Once we've identified the target, the Build2Sustain team, including the core team at Build2Sustain, our architects, mechanical and energy engineers, the folks that we bring in to as needed to do this design work, will come in and they'll assess the opportunities and the strategies that we have given the space. What systems we want to target for retrofit, what systems we might want to renovate, what's working about the space, what isn't, what are some of the goals that our client has to make the space work better functionally, and how can we execute those functions more sustainably. In week 5, after having a couple of weeks to assess these things, pull some cuts, get some solutions together, we're going to come back for the first round of presentations to our academic partner. So we want to make sure we're on the right track here. We'll have proposed certain beginning solutions, for instance, retrofitting lighting, retrofitting building control, retrofitting HVAC control. Core sort of retrofit and renovation decisions tailored to the client, but we want to make sure we're on the right track. So week 5 is about presenting those initial solutions for further revision. We go away then for weeks 6 through 8. That gives us 3 weeks to take our stakeholder feedback from our week 5 first set of solutions, synthesize them down into actionable design solutions. This is where we'll start to generate concept drawings, review cut sheets and specifications for the systems that we might put into place. We'll begin to assign cost to all of these elements at this point, so we'll get a sense of what this project is going to cost and how it's going to sit in the budget. That's important because at the same time, in this between weeks 3 and 8, we'll have accomplished an energy audit for the given space or building in question, so we know how much energy this space is using now, pre-renovation. That's going to be the baseline by which we judge return on investment and payback post-renovation. Week 9, we're going to present our second set of solutions. This is a much more refined set of solutions. It's going to be there'll be concept drawings, renderings, the cut sheet book I alluded to earlier. Our client at this point is going to have a very good sense of what the retrofit and/or renovation is going to mean for the space in question. We'll also have baseline energy information at this point that we can begin to compare new renovation against. So if we can tell you off the bat your lighting system is consuming X number of watts per square feet and we're going to deliver X minus 50%, you can already start to see what the cost savings are going to be. In week 10, we're going to finalize the design. So final feedback from our stakeholders, things that they might have needed clarification on, things that they might not have been perfect. We're going to go away, fix those things at our offices, come back to them with a finalized solution that embodies cost, ROI, projected time away from time of renovation. In other words, how much time the contractors will need to get the work done. Real solid design solutions. Week 11, we'll deliver those solutions again to our stakeholders, to our academic partner, so that they'll know in a real way what the costs, what the timeline, and what the final result of the renovation is going to be. After final approval, all of this information, all of this pre-design work will be synthesized down to a singular proposal that is then delivered to the university and is actionable at any time. So all of this design work ends up in an actionable document that the university or college can act on whenever they feel is appropriate. So that, in a nutshell, is how the 12-week process will work. Of course, this is malleable depending on the college or the university, the specific circumstances that we're looking at. But in a nutshell, this is how we imagine the 12-week process to work, and we think it's pretty straightforward. As far as deliverables are concerned, for our academic partner, we alluded to this earlier, concept drawings and renderings, a cut sheet catalog for all final design solutions. So lighting fixtures, building management systems and control systems, HVAC systems, any system that we're looking at retrofitting or changing or introducing, we'll provide literature for, and tying that literature into concept drawings that we provide, we think will give a very, very strong idea of what the look and feel of the renovated space will be at the end of the renovation. We'll do materials and labor cost estimates from local vendors. So it's one thing to have cut sheets and to have sort of catalog pages for these materials, but we'll actually have some distributor costs, what this renovation will cost at the end of the day. We'll also roll into that costs of things like consultation time, architect's time. This project is a pro bono project, but were it to be enacted in the real world, we need to account for those costs because that is part of the payback. They'll have audit numbers comparing current energy use to projected use after a retrofit or renovation. And then they'll have timeline to payback. So knowing what you're using now as an energy baseline and knowing what you're projected to use after the renovation, we can fairly accurately project out a payback period and determine when would a retrofit or renovation be profitable. And finally, an actionable project proposal. It's a document that can be moved to higher levels of the academic institution for approval and hopefully further action. So those are the deliverables on the academic partner side. The other stakeholder in all this is, of course, as always, with Build2Sustain, the green building community. And we look to deliver three things to the green building community. Participatory website to assess real-world design build strategies and solutions. At the core of our mission is that there are definitely better ways to deliver green building solutions and specifically retrofit and renovation options to the commercial world. We feel that by opening the process up and maintaining transparency, we'll get better results and we'll build a better set of best practices for the industry to use as a whole. Alluding to that, there'll be a documented real-world test of best practices in green retrofit. We're going to take the best of what people are doing from around the country. We're going to try to test it in this paper project. Again, it's an academic exercise, to be sure, but having the opportunity to discuss it and assess the projections in real time and throughout the web, we feel we'll get a better set of test solutions. And finally, a public-facing report will synthesize down the lessons learned from the paper project. So we're going to learn a lot about how Build2Sustain works. We're going to learn a lot about how to open source and how to crowdsource a project like this. We're going to learn a lot about what our assumptions were going in and what we were left to believe leaving the project. So this is a learning exercise for Build2Sustain as well, and we're going to synthesize those lessons learned down to a public-facing report that will be accessible to the green building community. And hopefully will generate more conversation about what it is to commence in one of these retrofits. So that's, in a nutshell, what the 12-week program is as part of the paper project and what the deliverables are. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation. And if you have any questions, please email us at paperproject@build2sustain.com.